Authority to order. This is the annual meeting of the Board of Directors. I'd like to thank the Tennessee Titans and Nissan Stadium for hosting us this morning, and we look forward to hearing your report later in the meeting. We are happy to once again have Councilman Withers with us this morning, and we are especially excited to have our special guest, Mayor Cooper, is with us this morning. And I'd like to give you an opportunity, Mayor, to have some words at this time.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll see if I can get this mic to work. Oh, there we are. Thank you, Chair. And I want to thank Councilman Withers also for his great support of this project. But I'm really here to thank all of you. This has been a journey, a lot of work. I'm grateful to each one of you for putting in the time and the diligence to protect our city. And Executive Director Buck Knudsen, thank you. And to the Sports Authority staff, thank you. I am here to say thank you for your excellent stewardship over Nashville's taxpayers' money. Now, as you know, and you are the most informed group on the facts of this, 26 years ago, Nashville made a smart bet in recruiting the Titans, and it worked. We got the team, and Nashville has been a successful and growing city ever since. But now that original lease had unfunded liabilities that put Nashville residents on the hook for improvements, and it trapped valuable public land in the lease for far too long. And as you know, and this group uniquely understands the liability of the old lease. So Venue Solutions Group concluded that it was $362 million of enabling projects would be required before Nissan Stadium can even be renovated. And then we'd have to pay roughly $500 million for a renovation as required by the lease. And that includes probably a view of the future maintenance that would be required to look after that in order to make Nissan a competitive facility with its peer stadiums. Now, that would be a $1.9 billion burden on the Metro General Fund. And that's an unacceptable price for Nashville residents to pay when we need to keep investing in schools, public safety, and neighborhood infrastructure. But we are in a new era. With your leadership, we are in a new era. And we knew that Nashville residents needed to negotiate a better deal. And that's what you have done. Because letting Nashville residents foot the bill for billions of dollars of renovation on an aging stadium surrounded by surface parking lots was going to be a hardship on Nashville taxpayers. And doing nothing was not a legal option under the old lease. So back in May of last year, I made 7 promises to Nashvillians about the new stadium, and I'm proud that the East Bank work keeps every single promise. The deal relieves what independent experts concluded was that $1.9 billion liability for Metro. And now the team, not the city, will fund stadium maintenance, freeing up money to invest in our core priorities like education and public safety. We're building a world-class asset for Nashville without relying on the city's general fund or any general obligation debt. So Nashvillians, with your help, are getting a $2.1 billion dome stadium paid for entirely by the team, tourism, and the state and users of the East Bank campus. But we, Nashvillians, will be owning that dome stadium, which will be well maintained. We're keeping the Titans here in Nashville without making taxpayers foot the bill. And we're getting the land back. The first part of that, 65 acres on the East Bank, that does not include MDHA's land or our other public land in the area, is a huge opportunity for the city to get that back. And there are going to be parks and affordable housing and new transportation infrastructure, a new transit hub, other community priorities on the East Bank, all being facilitated by getting out of the old lease and into this new dome arrangement. So let's just do the math. If the deal frees Metro Nashville of a $1.9 billion lease obligation under the current lease, 1.9. The city, residents of the city, without paying for it, are going to get a $2.1 billion well-maintained dome. When the new lease is up, and unlike our current stadium, the maintenance of it is not going to fall on the general taxpayers. $2.1 billion. Then there's $1 billion in land coming back to the city. And that's not including the opportunity cost of the valuable land that's just would remain in surface parking lots for the next 17 years to build a new, exciting area in our city. And then over the next 30 years, according to independent financial experts, the tax increment on the East Bank will be $3.1 billion. You add that up, that is an $8 billion swing for the benefit of Nashville taxpayers. That is the biggest swing anybody knows of for any city, certainly our size, ever. And your hard work and diligence is making that happen. But a note, your work today, you are not spending, and the public needs to know, you are not spending Nashville general taxpayer dollars. You cleverly are a conduit for hotel tax dollars in the financing that hopefully you will approve today. You are using tourism revenue to build a better city. Great job. It is future hotel guests and users of the stadium who are funding the bonds that the Sports Authority, will be issuing, not the general taxpayers, but by your cleverness in being a conduit for tourism money, the residents of Nashville will end up owning the Dome and having a smart growth plan for the East Bank that's going to create such an exciting city with affordable housing and a transit corridor and a transit hub and parks and riverfront activation that we will be, if you conclude your action today, the most exciting city in the whole country in the 21st century. This is the stepping stone for doing this. And the residents, the Dome is important. $8 billion is amazing for a city of this size to add to its value going forward. But that's not counting the greater value of being able to have the greater North-South Transit Boulevard. For the first time, we can add connectivity to Nashville. You'll be able to get smoothly out to the airport with the transit corridor, reconnecting dozens of neighborhoods and getting Nashvillians an option not to have to get onto the interstate if you're going to get around Nashville. This is going to be the biggest transportation infrastructure improvement in the city since Briley Parkway. All this comes from your action today, both financial and vision for the city. And with that, Madam Chair, I wanted just to come and thank you for the unprecedented amount of work. I mean, I wasn't in the 90s, I'm sure it was a lot of work with the original stadium, but the amount unprecedented for the last generation, the unprecedented amount of work that you've put in to protect the taxpayers, provide a vision for the city, have an unparalleled financial swing for the benefit of all of us, and for you so shrewdly not using Metro dollars, but just being a conduit for future tourism dollars to enable this unparalleled asset to be owned by Nashville taxpayers going forward. So with all that, thank you for a moment. And again, I'm here to say thank you. It's not easy being part of a public board and executing your responsibilities, I know, but you've done an incredible job. And for the future residents of the city, let me say thank you for $8 billion swing for me, more than it seems conceivable. And that's why I wanted to walk through those 4 builders of incredible value for taxpayers, and to thank you for using future tourism money to replace what was a general obligation tax money, this ability to use tourism money to build a better city. You're pioneers in that, and thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And Mayor Cooper, just on behalf of this authority, as always, we thank you for your leadership, for your guidance. We're especially grateful that you have come and commend the efforts of this authority. Our intent is to work on behalf of this community, and the decisions we make are definitely geared towards impacting a better Nashville in the future. So thank you for everything. We appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Okay, so before we move forward, I would like to make an announcement. One of our community partners, Michelle Kennedy. Michelle Kennedy was recently received a promotion, and she is now the president of the Nashville Predators. She's not here, but I think that deserves a huge, huge round of applause. We're so excited for Michelle. If any of you have had the opportunity, most of them, I'm sure, have worked with her. She does a phenomenal job. So kudos to the Predators. So those of you who attended the Finance Committee meeting already know this, but it's important to state again. The Sports Authority's public comment policy invites up to 10 guests who have signed up at least 48 hours in advance to speak for no longer than 2 minutes in support or opposition to any agenda item that the board will be voting on. We had a number of guests to sign up to comment on the Fairground Speedway proposal, but late yesterday, Bristol Motor Speedway requested that we defer action on this agenda item until our next meeting. So there will not be voting on that item today, and therefore we will not be speaking to that. We do appreciate all who have signed up, and I think they should have been contacted. I think Brandon reached out to let them know that we would be deferring that. We do, however, have one guest who has requested to speak in support of the stadium bond resolution. So I will ask Angela Crane Jones to come forward at this time. Good morning, Angela. You will have 2 minutes to speak to the authority.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak this morning. I know that the Sports Authority has already passed the stadium agreement, and I thank you for your leadership on that. And I just wanted to come before you to let you know I'm in support of the bond resolution as well. This project is going to bring so many opportunities to businesses here in Nashville, and especially with the minority community. NBIC has already been working with the Titans to make sure that small business as well as minorities are able to maximize benefiting from this stadium. Through their One Community program, we have small business seminars already set up for next month and several master classes beyond next month to ensure that even if individuals are not able to be on this project, that they're prepared for future growth in Nashville. I ask for your support on the bond resolution and look forward to sharing our progress over the next couple of months. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Next on the agenda is consideration of the minutes from the June 15th, 2023 meeting and the June 28th work session. So you should have received your via SharePoint link your minutes for the June 15th meeting and the June 28th meeting on last Friday. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay, and the motion passes. Now we will hear from Monica Faulknerson with our executive report.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. You have the agenda before you. Other than the fairgrounds documents deferral, the agenda, there are no other changes to the agenda. I really don't have much. I feel like I say that a lot and then I keep talking. Really don't have that much to report. I think you all have a really good understanding of what we do and how we've spent the last month. I would just say that we're continuing to work with Metro Procurement on the solicitation for our construction manager. And so in our communications with them, we're hoping that will be published sometime probably late August, but we will keep you informed on that timeline as well. The other thing I just want to note, because I don't mention it often, is that in the back of your binders, we have reports from our facilities. And we hear from one facility, I think, pretty comprehensively each month. But the information that's provided by the rest of our partners is really great information. I think it will just give you a more comprehensive view of what's going on in all of our facilities. So I would encourage you to read those as you can. Also in your binders, we have the budget accountability report for our department, and that's something that we will be making available to the Finance Committee probably monthly. And so I just wanted to call attention to those two documents. Are there any questions for me? If not, that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you so much. Next, we will have our Vice Chair Harrison, who will give our Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Finance Committee and board members. Madam Chair, the Finance Committee met this morning at 9:00 a.m. and we had a full agenda. We started the meeting with the opportunity to have public comment. We then approved the June 15th meeting minutes and made several recommendations. The Finance Committee considered salary updates for Barb Lackey and Melissa Wells. Their salaries are funded by the Arena and the Arena Revenue Account and require approval. These increases are in line with the Metro Council's recommendations for 6% for cost of living adjustments and 3% merit increase. Funding is available in both accounts. Chair Bender, the Finance Committee recommends approval of salary updates, and the staff members and I approve for adoption.
Okay, so the motion has been made. Is there a second? Okay, any discussion? All in favor of accepting the recommendation from the Finance Committee, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. And the motion passes.
Okay, also additionally, we received notification that the Speedway proposal had been deferred, and so the Finance Committee considered approval of the project budget for the new stadium instead. The Titans provided detail and are here to answer any additional questions. Shannon and Kellen are here to give a brief summary.
Very good. Would you like to briefly go back over it? Okay, very good.
Madam Chair, if there are no questions or comments, then the Finance Committee recommends approval, and I move for adoption.
Okay, there's a motion? Second. It's been moved and properly second that we approve the stadium project budget. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Chairman Harris.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. The Finance Committee also considered approval of issuance of $760 million not to exceed revenue bonds for the new stadium. Tom Cross and Jeff Oldham, they're here to answer any questions you might have for that.
Okay. Tom?
Would you? I'm sorry. We kind of spoke to this briefly. Would you all like to come back up now? And I know you're going to walk through some of the documents, but if you want to come on up, you can do that, and then the board can act on the recommendation.
Well, you guys are with us quite often, but if you would just state your name and your role.
Good morning. My name is Lillian Blackshear with Bassberry and Sims. This is my partner, Jeff Oldham. We are engaged as bond counsel on this transaction. You've heard the presentation from the finance director earlier regarding the 4 series of the bonds, the not to exceed amount of the bonds, and obviously the revenue sources for the bonds. So what you have before you are 2 separate resolutions that would authorize the bonds. So the first resolution is termed an initial resolution. And so it's a very short resolution that's required pursuant to state law to just hit the high points of the bond issue itself. So it has a not to exceed amount of $760 million. You have the project, obviously, we know that is the stadium, and then they have the revenue sources, which Director Flannery had previously given to the Finance Committee as listed in the resolution. So this resolution would be one that was published in the paper after today to give notice to the citizens of Nashville about the bond issue. So this is the very short one. The larger resolution, which would be
Okay, if we could pause there, maybe as an authority, we can take on that first
Yes,
resolution.
absolutely.
And then we'll move to the second one. So we would entertain a motion from the Finance Committee.
Okay. Finance Committee recommends approval,
Okay.
and move that it be adopted.
Okay. So this is approval of a resolution authorizing the issuance of and not to exceed $760 million in aggregate principal amount of stadium project revenue bonds of the Sports Authority of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any questions or discussions? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay, and that resolution passes. Thank you.
Also, the Finance Committee consider approval of the documents required for the new stadium. And Jeff Oldham is here also to comment about that, if you will, to answer any questions.
I'll let, why don't you want to talk about the resolution generally, and then we'll go through the exhibits.
Right. So maybe the easiest way for us to go through this would be to talk about the authorizing bond resolution. And attached to the resolution are the material agreements as it relates to the stadium project. And then Jeff can go through those agreements. So the second resolution in front of you is the authorizing bond resolution. So where the initial resolution kind of hit the high points of the project itself, the authorizing bond resolution goes into detail about the various terms.
And this is behind tab 7. Tab 7.
So this resolution that you'll see behind tab 7 will go through the various terms of the bonds. And then you can see that explicitly listed are various agreements that are contemplated on being entered into in connection with the bond issue. And I think all of these agreements you will have seen before. So hopefully none of these things are new to you. But what we can do is just go through each of those exhibits. So the first exhibit would be Exhibit A1, which relates to the indenture for the first two series of bonds, and Exhibit A2 relates to the indenture for the next two series.
Which I think in your packages are tabs 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll just talk briefly about the indentures. I sort of think of the indentures as your loan agreement with bondholders. And so those indentures will say, what are you going to do with the bond proceeds when you get them in? And you're going to pay issuance costs. You will buy municipal bond insurance, as Director Flannery said, if it makes economic sense, and only if it makes economic sense. And the rest of the money then goes into a project fund. And so the indenture describes the project fund mechanics and how those dollars get applied to project costs. The second big thing it does is it describes the terms of the bonds. And Director Flannery's sort of presentation laid that out. There are 4 series. 2 of the series, A and B, are secured solely by hotel taxes, stadium sales taxes, and water and sewer pilot only for a couple more years through stadium completion. The C and D bonds are secured by any excess revenues of that group, along with ticket taxes and team rent. And the C and D bonds, unlike the A and B bonds, have Metro's non-tax revenue backstop that's sort of consistent with the deals you've seen before. So 4 series of bonds, you see those terms, they mature in July 1, 2056, just as we've been talking about all along. The next thing that the indentures or sort of the loan agreement does is it says, okay, well, it lays out the rules for collecting those revenues every month, putting them through a series of funds that are for bondholders' benefit, and then once bonds have been paid, they spill out into the stadium lease like we talked about. So that's what's going on in the indentures. That's Exhibit A. Happy to answer any questions about that, or after that, then we'll move to Exhibit B, the bond purchase agreement, and Lillian can talk about that. Any indenture questions?
Questions?
Okay, so we will move to Exhibit B, which is the form of bond purchase agreement, which maybe is tab 2 in your binders. This is kind of self-explanatory from the title, but this would be the agreement that memorializes the actual sale of the bonds. And so obviously the bonds have not yet sold because they're not yet authorized, but this is the form of the agreement that would be entered into. And importantly, as Director Flannery noted earlier, there's a underwriter, Goldman lead underwriter, but there's also a diverse set of co-managing underwriters, and those folks are listed in the form of bond purchase agreement. And in addition to documenting the underwriters, it also spells out the various pieces of the closing documentation that will be needed to consummate the sale of the bonds. So if there are any questions on the bond purchase agreement, we'll take those.
Questions? And I think that it was very helpful to have a detailed report in our Finance Committee meeting. So thanks to each of you for attending that. So at this time,
Madam Chair, the Finance Committee recommends approval, and I move for its adoption.
thank you. So at this time, we will consider approval of a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of stadium project revenue bonds of the Sports Authority of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, approving the execution and delivery of trust indentures relating to said bonds, and authorizing the deposit of certain authority funds in the accounts established under said indentures, approving the execution and delivery of a bond purchase agreement, construction funds trust agreement, and person seat license sales administration agreement relating to said bonds and or the stadium project, authorizing credit facilities to ensure payment of the bonds or portion thereof when due, and debt service reserve fund credit facilities to fund debt service reserve funds for certain of the bond, authorizing permitted investments of the authority in connection with funds related to the stadium project, authorizing the preparation and distribution of offering and disclosure documents in connection with the sale and issuance of the bonds, authorizing the defeasance of certain outstanding bonds of the authority issued to fund or refund improvements to the existing stadium, and authorizing the application and disposition of certain fund of the authority. Wow. So, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. The motion passes, and we thank you all for your assistance in this matter. Thank you so much.
And Madam Chair, if there are no questions for me or any of the Finance Committee members, this concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Harrison. Thank you for that. Thank you for Finance Committee for a job well done. And thank you to this authority for a job well done. I appreciate the efforts. Next on the agenda, facility questions. So at this time, we'll open the floor to questions from the board for any of our facility partners, managers, teams, executives. Anyone? Okay. So, agenda. And we look forward to hearing from Nissan Stadium and the Tennessee Titans in their report. So we're going to ask the Titans to take over here. Please just state your name and your role.
Good morning, Kellen DeCourcy, Project Executive with the Tennessee Titans. I'm Adolfo Birch. I'm Chief External and League Affairs Officer for the Tennessee Titans as well. Thank you to all of you for giving us this opportunity to provide you with a little update on aspects of both the stadium and our related One Community efforts. We thought it would be helpful for the authority to be able to sort of understand where we are and some of the progress that's been made. So hopefully you will be able to follow and ask us questions if you have any about it. But I think you will see that we've made a lot of progress thus far, and it really is only the beginning to be able to achieve all of the things that we were trying to achieve through the course of the deal.
Right.
Perfect. So we just wanted to highlight here and continue the open communication and transparency around the project team, and we'll continue to update you on from time to time as this list grows. But ultimately wanted to talk a little bit about the list of folks that we've already engaged on the project. On the left column, you'll see this is the team that makes up our design team for the stadium. Again, we've made a commitment to hiring local minority and women-owned businesses for this pursuit and this project. So all told here, you'll see we have about 9 local firms in this list and about 14 DBE firms also incorporated in this list as well. Happy to walk through them if you have any questions on their role, but all of them play a critical part in the overall design of the project. And then on the right-hand side is a column of just additional consultants that we've engaged to help us through the process in the project. mainly we spoke a little bit earlier about the owner's representatives, CA Icon and Don Harden Group. We have geotechnical engineering and environmental consulting, F&B consulting with Levy. We have a security consultant, and also we're working heavily on our sustainability efforts as well. Any questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I have
Director Beal.
a question. Would you name each of the firms on the list that are out-of-town firms?
Sure, I'll rattle that off here. Our design architect, the first on the list was Manica. They're out of Kansas City. Next on the list would be Walter P. Moore. That's our main structural engineer of record. They're headquartered out of Houston, but have multiple offices across the country. Reagan Smith, they're local. WJHW is our audio, visual, and broadcast production partner. They're out of Dallas. ME Engineers, they're out of Denver. S2O is out of Chicago. Howe is out of Boston. Persona Han, they're in the Bay Area. Momentum, they're actually out of London. Lloyd Sports Engineering, they're out of Nevada. And I'm sorry, I think the last on the list is Downstream. They're out of Portland.
And then, of course, TVS is out of...
I'm sorry, I missed them. Yes, they're out of Atlanta.
Okay, now, I know how Manica was selected and how TVS was selected. I think I know. Mm-hmm. It was a competitive process. Now, the other members of the team that you listed, were they selected through a competitive process?
Yes.
And who facilitated that competitive process?
A combination of the Titans, CA Icon and Don Harden Group, and when it came to the TVS members of their team, also TVS.
So there were only two entities involved in that process?
There's the handful. I mentioned the Titans, CA Icon, Don Harden Group, and TVS.
Okay. And TVS was involved. CAA Icon and the Don Harden Group. I'd like to know, with the local firms that were involved, how many firms within the same discipline were competed for those particular roles, those particular disciplines. As an example, architecture. How many local firms were considered for the competitive process?
On that front, outside of which actually is a special story, honestly, about the local architectural partners that we've engaged. We're very excited about the combination of EOA, culture, and community solutions by design. That's a kind of a combination of a women-owned firm and two black-owned architectural firms coming together that are all local. They were all considered, and there was an opportunity to join them together. Outside of that, the other local firms were just we had. Escaping me, the other local firm, they actually submitted against TVS. We obviously also had Hastings as well, as you know, submitted for the architect of record.
Would you tell me something about culture?
Yes. Again, they're an upstart firm. Jonathan Cole is the owner of the business. And again, both his firm and Community Solutions by Design, they are, I understand they're also doing some work at the airport, but ultimately it's a great opportunity on their own. They likely would not have had an opportunity on this, but by joining forces, they're getting an opportunity to work on this amazing project.
I'm just trying to get this together in my head. Of course, I have a personal affinity for minority and local-owned businesses participating on this project. With $2.1 billion, I'm hoping that there can be more firms to participate than the ones that are listed. It seems as though when you mentioned the DBE Partners for Architecture, there was not, from what I understand, other firms considered. These three firms were just selected or identified and invited to participate. Is that how it happened?
Yeah, they were solicited, yes.
Were there other firms solicited for the same services?
That hit, as far as firms that have DBE certification, there weren't any others identified. But there were other local architectural firms.
And when you say DBE certification, what does that mean?
Those are the certifications recognized by the BAO, at either minority, women-owned, or small business.
Okay. Now, I am interested also in knowing, and I've had this discussion briefly, somewhat, with Mr. Birch, about opportunities for local firms that specialize in the same disciplines being able to participate from the standpoint of quality control, quality assurance, so that we can assure that, one, that there are more firms involved, more local firms involved, and that with their involvement, that we can get we can be assured of a more successful project. And I'd like to know what you might be planning to do that.
Yeah, I think you're speaking to some peer reviews. We do have a plan for that, especially on the structural side. But again, we do agree with you that we want to maximize the local participation.
Why not all of the disciplines? Why just structural? Why not MP&E? Why not civil?
We would have sort of on that regard with MEP Systems, a commissioning agent that hasn't been selected.
If I can jump in, I think, the idea is certainly one that was highly interesting to us. And I think we are planning to look at every opportunity to maximize the number of both local and, DBE participants. Looking specifically at the idea of inserting them as quality control or additional quality control or peer review and that sort of thing. I think the idea, we just have to be able to balance everything against ultimately the budget, what costs would be driven by each one if you're trying to add in new. But I think the idea of being able to expand the pool of participants in the project through that approach it is certainly worthy, and we will do our best to try to implement it as we can.
Okay, and hopefully it will not impact the budget because each of these disciplines will have been committed to a fee. And if they share their work, then they share their fee. So that should not hopefully impact the budget. And I just see more than a good opportunity for additional firms to participate. I say it again, $2.1 billion is a lot of money to spend with so few firms participating. And I would like to see that there's an opportunity for local firms that
We
may
agree with you.
consider.
We agree, and I think as we sit here, that's our intention, to try to maximize the number, quality, and variety of the participants on the project. We certainly agree with you on that.
And as always, Director Gill, we appreciate your due diligence on this subject. I think Director Page has a question as we move forward. We can come back and revisit that, but we have some other questions on the floor.
I wondered if you talk a little bit about the sustainability in the project that you're bringing forth.
Sure. Yeah. Happy to do so. It's actually something that I know I'm passionate about. I know there's many in the Titans organization that are excited about it and compassionate about it. But we are going for LEED Gold certification on the project. But we also are working with Wilmot Inc. As our sustainability consultant to look at sustainability across many different pillars, from the design of the project, selecting sustainable materials, and then moving into the construction. How can we be sustainable in our construction practices? And then ultimately, how do we operate the stadium with our vendors sustainably?
Are you considering the parking surfaces being
Impervious?
Thank you. Couldn't remember.
To the extent that we actually have parking that's under our control. We don't really, with the footprint that the stadium has, we are not really building much parking other than the player parking garage below grade.
And I would add there that there are a couple other things. From an internal standpoint, we have formed a working group that's specifically going to focus on sustainability. And we have also been working in good measure with the league headquarters because they have a number of ideas and sort of testable models that they've sort of tried to push through to the team level. And so we're trying to work with them to get as much of that knowledge and be able to incorporate as much of it as we can.
Can you name one item that has you excited about sustainability that's happening with the stadium? I mean, like, is there one thing that
I think one of the biggest ones that we're most excited about, and it's the future for everybody, is we want to be zero waste. There's only really one NFL facility that I think touts that today, and that's Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz. But we want to work with our waste hauling partners and our vendors to make sure that we aren't throwing away plastics and we're recycling and we're composting.
Thank you.
Yes. Director McGee?
Thank you. Can you all just help us draw a correlation between the $625 million that council had approved out of this deal for minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses, just in relation to the conversation that's being had?
I'm going to need you to restate that one.
I don't know if Councilman Withers is still here. She's smiling. I may need you to back me up on this, but council was able to get 25% concession of this $2.1 billion deal, which is $625 million allocated to minority-owned businesses.
Oh, okay.
And so just in the spirit of intentionality, the amount of contractors that are actually listed and the goal of actually executing that $625 million opportunity for minority-owned and women-owned businesses.
I see. I don't think the number may not be exactly correct based on what you used to budget it for, but I think the broader sense of DBE participation and how that's going to filter through the project, and ultimately with council approving I guess that was Councilmember Hurt's amendment, you'll see it spread through the entire project. It'll be both from design through construction, through some of the post construction things. But in our view, it really reflects, not even the requirement, but it's our objective. It's what we are trying to do, and we actually, our next slide walks a little bit through what our DBE participate. Oh, sorry, the next yes. So you can see based on some of these bullets that the idea is going to be to both create and find the largest, most robust pool we can, both on the firm end and on workforce development. And that will come from a number of different ways in working with Don Harden Group and others, working with BAO, to really try to identify where the capacity is and identify how we can move firms to certification that are potentially not certified now to be able to, use and include them in that way. It's going to be a robust system to try to get to even higher than, the levels that have been sort of laid out in our council.
Okay, that's good. And I think you may have just answered that. Just kudos to you all for that level of intentionality. I think that is important. As the project potentially grows, and we learned earlier that the Titans will be 100% responsible for that, overspent.
If the overruns, yes.
Overpriced. Does that 25%, is that still the overprice? If we go overpriced, is it still 25% commitment to?
Well, that I think sort of by definition that would be the case, because if you're going over budget, you still selected you still have the same firms and the same workforce components. It's just going to cost more. So I think if you achieve the goal and objective to get that level of DBE participation, it won't materially impact, won't be materially impacted by overruns or, increased costs.
I'm hoping you all blow it out the water.
We're going to try. I mean, I think the one thing that this authority ought to recognize from us is that from the start, this has been a top priority for us. It's informed every level of thinking that we've had from the beginning of planning forward. And we've even carried it not simply into the new project and the new construction, but we've begun to carry that through to our current operations to understand what we're doing in terms of participation now with our current vendors and how we can improve that mix and give new opportunities through the process. So for us, this is a base level issue for us. It has always been, and it will continue to be, if I've got anything to do with it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good questions. Additional questions?
I do have another one.
Director Field?
I'd like to know if you've gotten your construction manager.
No, that process is underway currently. The RFP was solicited and proposals were received. We have 2 respondents who are actually underway this week with interviews, one this afternoon. And we hope to present the final selection to you all next in August meeting.
Okay.
And we are working with Metro on that process as well.
All right.
Yeah, again, I think just wanted to be transparent and open on the process of this project as it unfolds. And so here you'll see on this slide some of the past work that's been done. Back in May, we presented the selection of TVS as the architect of record to the board here. And then we also got underway with a larger sewer main project that you might be seeing on the east side of the stadium. That's to relocate a 60-inch sewer main out of the future footprint of the new stadium. And again, we mentioned we are underway with the CM at risk RFP process. And then looking forward to next month's meeting, our goal here is to present the architect of record contract. We actually have that complete and hope to get that over to you as soon as possible just for your review ahead of that. And then also, again, looking to come forward with the final selection of the construction manager at risk. And then looking ahead after that, September and October timeline, again, we'll be pushing to present the final agreement for the construction manager as well. And we'll also continue to update as we progress on additional utility relocations. We're working with Piedmont and Colonial Gas as well. And work is targeted for sometime in fall, and we'll have more updates on that next month. And then,
Yeah. So I think we wanted to, in addition to sort of the main stadium project, wanted to kind of alert you to a couple of things and update you on a couple of things that are going on that are really critical to the project overall as well. And the first of that is our agreement with Tennessee State University on how they will interact with the stadium and with their lease. So we completed the discussions and negotiations on that recently. And frankly, I think it is an unprecedented agreement. There is no other relationship between an NFL or professional sports team and a college in this manner, particularly not an HBCU. And we think that this agreement gives both the team and Tennessee State a number of opportunities to benefit from the nature of the relationship that we're setting forth. So to kind of hit the highlights, under the agreement, they'll be able to play all their home games in the stadium if they choose. If they choose to play elsewhere, they will get a fee. They'll get a payment in lieu of those dates that they don't use. And that is a diametrical shift from obviously any normal relationship, but it's also a shift strictly to the benefit of Tennessee State to be able to not only play at no cost, no rent. That the authorities should know that under the previous agreement or the current agreement, there was a rent charge to the authority for Tennessee State annually. The new agreement, there is no rent charge, simply the $3 per ticket fee that was passed through the ordinance. But like I said, more importantly, Tennessee State will be able to play without cost. And if they don't play in the stadium, they will receive a benefit. And that is at the core of what we believe to be the system that will best help Tennessee State be able to navigate how it wants to interact with the stadium versus its on-campus stadium as well. I think there are a number of other things that are associated with the agreement in terms of the signage. They will continue to have the permanent signage outside, home of the Tennessee State University Tigers. Interior signage, they'll have digital takeover abilities during Titans games, in addition to obviously during Tennessee State games, that will give it a distinct home feel for Tennessee State during its games. The locker rooms and other branding are going to maintain. And I think probably importantly on the stadium end, the idea that the Titans will feature Tennessee State and the athletics and the history of the institution for one Titans game. And as part of that, provide operational support, ticketing support, event operation support to really help Tennessee State see how the Titans, achieve the goals that we try to achieve, and really hopefully to pass those down. So it's a really exciting agreement. I have talked to a number of people who understand its value and how it can be leveraged by the university, as well as obviously providing a benefit to Nashville and to the team. So that was one aspect we wanted to update you on. The rest.
I have a question on that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So traditionally, how many games do they play at the stadium? Is it
It's
3 or 4?
Yeah, I think, that's going to be a decision that TSU will sort of make. I think historically they've played between 2 and 4 of their games. They would play some games at Hale Stadium by choice. And the one thing I want to say, though, is that this new structure and new agreement gives Tennessee State a lot more flexibility because I think under the current arrangement, financially it didn't always make sense to do one versus the other. But this will allow TSU to make that determination, knowing that the economics won't make the difference. And so they can choose how they want to do it for the reasons that they think best advance the interests of the university.
And what is the current revenue sharing under parking concessions tickets? What will be changing?
So under the new agreement, they will get 100% of net revenues from any of the things like that, like merch or other things that are revenue opportunities for the institution. Everything that, from parking to concessions, they will pick up all the net revenue from all of that.
And what is it now? What are they doing under the current contract?
That's a good question. I think it's hard to talk about because you have to think about the rent and the other usage fees and things that are all going to be waived going forward. But those, the stadium usage fees are currently charged back. So I think that the net answer is that going forward, Tennessee State will become net positive for every game
I like that.
they play. That's the easiest way to say it, I think.
In reality, is there any opportunity for them to take advantage of advertising, though?
Yes.
How would they do
Yes. So they'll be able to sell. They'll be able to sell advertising and keep again same point. Keep
Okay.
net revenue.
Awesome.
All of that's been accounted for in the new agreement.
Yes.
Well, before we move on, as a proud TSU alum and a doctoral student, I do want to say thank you to the Tennessee Titans organization for your efforts. And it's really my hope that the student body will really benefit from this wonderful deal. Thank you for the hard work. It does make the difference.
Absolutely. Appreciate that.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
one question. You mentioned the Titans highlighting TSU at a game. Did you say just one game?
Yeah, so the idea is, as you know, during a Titans game, any NFL game, there are a number of league level initiatives. So from 1 week it may be salute to service. For the next week it may be women's history. There are a number of things that sort of come down that have to feed into our game day operations. But we have found that we have a space for on a particular game, which we'll have to figure out which one that is. We will make the feature and presentation strictly around TSU, including things like setting up memorabilia space with, the ability to view, items of historical significance to Tennessee State, to be able to kind of walk through the history of their athletics and other portions of the university. But yes, that would be that's going to be for one Titans game per year. I probably should add that we've also agreed to become the presenting sponsor for the John Merritt Classic, which will enable both Tennessee State and the Titans to kind of leverage the combined brand that they have in order to help benefit that particular game as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other?
So we had a couple other things, and I guess in the interest of time, I'll run through them fairly quickly. But just to let everybody know that the one community program that we presented and sort of announced a while back is up and running, and we're going through, and a lot of it is starting to come online. So I wanted to just highlight a few things that either are already being done or in close proximity to being done. Particularly, and going back to your Tennessee State point, we were able to have a class, Maymester class set up for Tennessee State students to understand the introduction of professional sports. That was a highly well received content and curriculum on the part of Tennessee State students, but they were able to learn all aspects, hear from Titans and other professionals about every aspect of the sports business, We expect to continue that program on a regular basis, but it was a wonderful opportunity for Tennessee State students to really get exposure to the sort of the ins and outs of what a potential sports career, what kinds of things are available in this industry, and what opportunities they might be able to find themselves looking toward. Additionally, the advisory committee itself, we have named our external members of that committee, and that's going to be the main committee that kind of oversees and reports and reviews the entirety of the One Community programs. So you'll see the folks, Frida Player and Dr. McQueen and others who are going to help us and participate in that committee as well. Looking next, Project Destin, if you remember, I think I probably talked to this body about it before, is an outstanding program that we were able to partner with to teach at varying levels, high school, college, and adult professional, the idea of real estate development using the stadium as the model from a curriculum standpoint. And those have been off the ground. We've had the one that we had with TSU and Fisk students that was able to, I think it was a 10 or 12 week course that they were able to take with, hands-on activity and interaction combined with a level of online curriculum that we think has been really effective and will go a long way to helping to pipeline potential careers from a workforce and a firm perspective down the line, which was one of our goals. I think, obviously we mentioned that earlier about our commitment to DBE, our commitment to improving the pipeline of potential people who would have interest in this industry and in the types of projects that this one represents. The other thing we have is the fellowship is online now, and that is something that we're particularly proud of, which is why it bears the original owner of the team's name. But those we will start to parse those out and begin that process soon enough. But as part of it, we are reserving some number of slots, I believe 5, for Tennessee State University students in particular, to be able to access that. And I mentioned that only to reinforce that our relationship is broader than simply the ability to play games in the stadium. We made a concerted effort to try to reach out and identify as many ways possible that we could assist in Tennessee State's sort of ability to reap benefit from this project. And that's really about it from an update. We have a number of other things that are close, and we will be sure to follow up with the authority as those things start to come online to make sure you're informed. And if you have questions about them, et cetera, we'll be happy to take those.
Great. Any questions? Any additional questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would like to go back to the design team and its members and local participation. I deduced from a comment that there's limited opportunity for peer participation with several disciplines, with all of the disciplines. And I'd like to know if that is accurate, and if you may be open to the consideration of other firms in the local area participating on this project in a peer review type arrangement.
Yes, I think. I think we were explicit in that, and that we think it's an excellent idea and an excellent way to try to expand that pool. And we will make every effort to look into it and see if it makes sense. I mentioned that we also have to watch the impact on budget, but within that parameter, certainly, we plan to do so.
I appreciate that, and I'm betting on you.
Fair enough.
Okay. Other questions or comments? Yes, Director Deere.
Now that we've got all this really important stuff completed with the stadium, I got one really, really important message. Do we have any new players coming to the Titans?
We might have one that you've read about coming, and actually think we have one that potentially will be as important to the organization, but we obviously can't talk about too much until it
Thanks
happens.
for that update.
That non-update.
No. So, as always, we thank the Titans. We thank, with so much on the table right now with the stadium project, and to see that you continue to forge new relationships within the Nashville community. Just really appreciate all the efforts. And so thank you so much for that update this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
What about the air conditioning?
But we will assure you that the new stadium will have it.
Thought maybe that was why you.
Yeah, we turned it up in here purposely.
Good move. Okay, thank you. So, as noted last month, the purpose of the annual meeting, according to our bylaws, is the election of officers for the new year. Our elections are governed by Robert's Rules of Order. So, in your binders behind tab 6, you'll find a memo from our legal counsel that speaks to the conduct as we move into this election. And Josh, if you would be so kind, perhaps you could give us a little oversight of that document before we move into elections.
Sure. So as Madam Chair mentioned, behind tab 6 is the memo. Actually, this memo is an updated memo from one that we've done a number of years ago. But generally, the authority at its annual meeting decides on its slate of officers. I think traditionally the board has usually just done a slate where you decide on nominees for each officer position, and you vote on that. However, you are not required to do that. You can do it by each officer position, where you accept nominations from the floor and decide whether or not to accept those. But again, it's up to you. And the other thing that I want to make sure the board keeps in mind is that obviously you guys have moved your annual meeting from January to July. And so the board officers will serve until next July or your next annual meeting. But as you know, the state has enacted a new law that basically reconstitutes the board membership as of January 1st. So as you are considering officers, one of the things that you may want to consider is, since there will be at least 6 of you that will no longer be on the board, unfortunately, you might want to keep that in mind as you're deciding on nominations for that term, because after January 1st, obviously 6 of you will not be on the board. So just want to keep that in mind. But if you have any questions about procedure, I'm happy to answer those.
Okay, thank you. So the executive committee has not proposed a slate of candidates at this time, so we'll open the floor for nominations for chair, vice chair, and secretary treasurer.
Thank you, Chair. At this time, I would like to propose a slate of candidates from the floor, if appropriate, for consideration by this body. Kathy Bender as chair, Jad Duncan as vice chair, and Aaron McGee as secretary treasurer. I didn't sit in this position purposely for that today, but given legal counsel's guidance and thank you to Kathy for her leadership and continuity, I think is important as we move past January. So I would like to propose that as a 3-member slate for consideration.
Thank you. Any other nominations from the floor? So I have the authority to carry, I think.
Either that is correct. So even though you are listed as one of the nominees, you can still preside over the motion.
And I think it does not require a second.
It does require a second.
It does require a second. Okay, so the motion has been made that the slate presented by Director Atkins move forward. Is there a motion? So we've got a motion, right? That is the motion. So is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, now discussion. All in favor of moving forward with the proposed slate, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. So this concludes our agenda. I'd like to thank the members of the
Kathy,
board.
ma'am,
Yes,
just one moment. This has been a critical juncture for this body, and we couldn't be here without the support of Frank Harrison and Emmett Wynn. They have served honorably and served this body proudly in some tough times of various meetings, and we really appreciate their commitment. So I would like to say thank you.
Thank you for that. Now, I could put you on the spot. Any parting words? You're not going anywhere right now, so thank you. Okay,
Chair, I'm sorry. This is something else. This in your packet behind the Titans information is you'll see something on the CMA, and maybe this was some miscommunication. I thought the Titans were going to speak to that, but we do have representatives from CMA here, and so I mean, very briefly, if you could just, we do want to acknowledge this is a major event that
absolutely.
takes place here.
Welcome. Please just state your name and your affiliation.
Right button. My name's Millie Olikin. I work for the Country Music Association. Thank you so much for having us. I know it's going to be brief. It's been a long meeting. I just want to give you some of the headlines of CMA Fest this year. First of all, it was our 50th Fest in Nashville for CMA Fest, and it's been celebrated on a documentary that you can watch on Hulu right now about the 50th years of Fest. And last night, I don't know if you caught it, but we did air CMA Fest for this year on ABC, so the stadium was looking amazing. But the headlines are that we had 90,000 people participating, country fans participating every day at CMA Fest this year. 50% of those are first-time people, so we're having a lot of new people coming into the city every year to enjoy CMA Fest. We increased stadium participation by 13%. The CMA brand hosted here in Nashville in the stadium really resonates. Out of 4,000 people we surveyed, 90% of them said they were satisfied. The younger demographic of 18 to 34-year-olds, 82% of them said they're coming back. And just a reminder, CMA Fest, all the artists play for free. We're raising money for the CMA Foundation. It supports music education in Tennessee and across the US. The artists play for free. They get to play in front of these amazing fans that all come from all over the world. We had over 51 countries represented in the fan base this year attending Fest. Lots of great press, lots of great media outlets here, and we continue to build brand partnerships to help pay for the costs of this huge festival. But like the headline really should be that $74.7 million was generated as the economic benefit to Nashville. And I think over 4 to 5 days, it's a pretty astonishing result. But I want to thank you for your partnership with CMA Fest and for the working with the Titans and the collaboration. So I really appreciate your time today for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was a brief presentation, but I learned a lot. And I've been around CMA for a long, long time. So thank you for that.
I would like to say I recognize you from the documentary. I think it was on a couple of days ago, and it was impressive to watch and really think about where we've come. And I'm sure you're excited about where we're going with the new stadium, and just commend the festival and bringing so many people together and celebrating Nashville and the good work you guys do. So thank you so much for coming, and it's our honor to work with you.
Thank you so much. And since we have you here, are there any questions or comments from anyone else? Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anything else before we wrap up? If not, I again would like to thank the Titans for hosting us this morning. We thank all of our partners for being a part of this meeting. We thank our legal bond counsel for being here and walking us through this process. And we thank our legal counsel. Thank you for helping us through that election. So the next full board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, August 17th at Ford Ice, Bellevue. A personnel committee meeting has been scheduled for August the 9th at 2:30, and the finance committee will likely meet prior to the. If there are no final questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Consider yourselves adjourned. Thank you for being here.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.